The truth.
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 Welcome to Trusting the Truth with Samuel Tolley, where we view the world through the lens of Jesus Christ. We do not view Jesus Christ through the lens of the world.
How you doing? This is Sam Tolley with Trusting the Truth. And today we have a guest, a former Oakland Raider, congressional candidate, and pastor, Jerone Davison. Davison is going to talk to us about Trump 2.0. So let me bring him on. How you doing, sir?
Oh, it's wonderful to be here, man. I'm doing good. Hopefully
Great.
I'm in the scope here.
Oh yeah, you're all in on my end.
Doing wonderful, man. Excited about what God has done for this country and doing for our families. And, you know, we were on the precipice of some very, very evil stuff. And I know the left don't see it. I know many of people in our culture and in our ethnicity didn't see it. But if we were spiritual, many of them say that they're Christians. If we had been in the Bible, if we were familiar with the Bible telling us about the spirit of the Antichrist, not the Antichrist himself, but the spirit of the Antichrist that is still at work in this earth, they would have seen it because it's coming from the left, but they didn't see it. And had Donald Trump not decided not to run, and had he not won, we would be in some very serious predicaments right now. That LGBT movement, that is, it's political, but yet it is also spiritual. It is perverted. It is twisted. It is not based on reality. It's not based on any science. And it's a way of taking power away from people. So you raise up this new minority group, and notice what they did with that new minority group. They took away freedom of speech. They took away freedom of speech with black people. Don't say the N-word. I mean, that was just practice. Don't say the N-word. You know, that was just practice. But when you started doing the nouns and the pronouns and the transgenders, you took away a whole lot more speech with these ethnic groups or special groups that they kept creating. And they are creating more and more groups with this psychotropic drugs for transgenders. We're seeing the danger of that. So yeah, I'm amazed at what God is doing. I'm amazed at the movement of President Donald Trump. It's hard to keep up with it. I don't see how you do it. You know, on your podcast, you got to break the news throughout the day, all day, because Donald Trump is moving at the light of a man who's probably even in his early 30s. And I'm excited.
It's beyond my ability to even try to keep up with him. And he's 79. So, but you touched on some very interesting things. And one of the things you touched on was about people and our ethnicity. And it blows my mind that there are so many black people, Americans, would vote against their own interests, particularly those that claim to be students of the Bible. And as you rightly pointed out, if they were truly Christians, it would actually be a no-brainer. But we got these people that appear to be, and even if they weren't, say, biblical, why would you vote against your own interests?
Absolutely. Do you see what's happening in Chicago and what they were trying to do in DC was trying to prevent President Donald Trump from stopping crime. Now, when we're talking about crime, we're talking about murders. We're talking about people dying. And who, Brother Samuel, were the people that were dying daily?
Black.
Our folks. They were dying. They were dead. And this is what I tell people all the time. The Democrats never wanted to stop crime. They never wanted to stop the killing of black people in these communities. They want death in the black communities. They want Planned Parenthood there. We only make up 12% of the population in America. And so when you put the guns in there and allow them to kill each other, and you get these judges that send them out, even though they are attempted murder, they send them right back out, and they go out and make sure that they do commit the murder properly this time. Then they decide to lock them up for a couple of years. But they're putting them out there because they want them to kill in our communities. It's very simple to see. Death is what they want for black people. But President Donald Trump, I don't know if people remember this, but you remember when the drone was flying over Iran? Iran shot that drone down.
Oh, when
And
Obama was president.
no, this is when and this was in Trump's first term.
Oh, okay. No, go ahead.
And so the military was begging him to retaliate. They said, "You have to retaliate, sir. You just can't let them shoot our drone down. This thing cost us what, $1 billion or $100 million." And Trump says, he said, "How many lives will be lost?" And the guy said, "Only 150, sir." And President Donald Trump said, "That's too much of a price. That's too much of a price." Now, any one of us say, like, you shoot up $1 billion of our stuff, hey, somebody got to die. But President Donald Trump, he really is that type of man that does not like to see people die. He values human life. Now, that's a God thing. That's a God thing. And he wants prosperity for all of these countries. And I think one of the best answers he's given when they was asking him questions about Iran and about Ukraine and Russia, he said, "What do you plan on doing?" He said, how do you see this?" He says, "I just want people to stop dying."
Yeah.
And so I said all that to say that when we're seeing President Donald Trump singing in the National Guard, stopping crime in these communities, he's trying to stop death. And it happens to be that most of the death that's taking place in these communities are minorities and blacks.
Yeah, I find it amazing. I'm watching Brandon Johnson talking about executive orders where the policewoman helped him in Chicago, and Bass in L.A. talking about he never should have sent the National Guard out there when they were rioting in L.A., throwing bricks and boulders over freeway on ramps to CHP cars, and it was just. It's ridiculous. You're watching these people, and like I said, and Bass, she was in Africa when LA was burning up, not paying attention to what was going on. They didn't have any water. And even after the fire where Trump was saying, let's get these places built up fast, let's get these things moving. And they still aren't building anything. So I think, the Democrat Party, it's amazing to me that people can't see it.
They're full-blown Marxists. They are Marxists. See, the Marxist doctrine is that they don't want to people to control their own destiny. Marxism is that they want to control who gets what, how, and when. So they keep talking about billionaires, but most of these Democrat politicians are millionaires. Do you see? So they'll take from you, and they'll take from the billionaires, and they'll take from the middleman and from the low income people, while they themselves stack up a wonderful life. They want to take meat away from you while they eat it. They want to take jets away from you while they fly in them. They want to take freedom away from you while they have their own and their children have their own. They want to take guns from you while they have armed security around them. Do you see? This is the Marxist doctrine. And I knew when Brandon came in there and replaced Heavyfoot or Lightfoot, whatever her name is.
Lightfoot.
When he came in and replaced Lightfoot, I said, this one is going to be worse. I put that on my old Facebook page. They took that page away. I wish I still had that page. I wish I had my YouTube channel and all of the stuff that I was doing, because I was really being so prophetic. And if I could just see that stuff and show it where I made these statements, people would be amazed, because I said that Brandon Johnson is going to be 10 times worse than Lightfoot. And that dude is horrible. What did they do with the immigrants? What did the Democrats show us? That the immigrants took priority not only of minorities and blacks in these communities, but they took priority over American citizens.
Yeah.
And the first way they showed us by opening up that border and flooded us with hundreds of millions of unvetted people into our country. And guess who had to pay for it? You and I. I saw it happening here in Arizona. The hotels, they shut them down on the freeway. And they took the names of the hotel off the side of the building, and they taped it off so that when they pulled in these buses of people, that you couldn't go past the rope, the police rope, that yellow stripe, and you couldn't go past it. Well, I went past it, and they had a fit. They called the police, and they was threatening to call the police on me and all this stuff. I said, this is America. And they said, don't film. I was filming. So I believe that companies like that, I think it was American Inn or Comfort Inn, several of those like that. But uh, they should be shut down
Yeah, well,
because
the
they
government,
capitalized heavily off of that government money from Biden to take care of those people when they came in this country.
yeah, the government was putting them up in luxury hotels, giving them EB cards with thousands of dollars on it. I did a video of a guy had $13,000 on it on an EBT card.
$13,000 on an EBT card.
It's just ridiculous. And you got people struggling or
Yeah,
trying to comply with the government requirements. It goes even back to when they were forcing the shot, trying to make us take it, whether we
yeah.
wanted to or not, but they would let these millions that come across, they didn't have to do anything. So I personally was afraid that if Trump would not have won that election, we'd be on the precipice of civil war.
I totally agree with you because for those of people like you and I who are, and we know that maybe 80 million people who voted for Trump this time was aware of it too.
Yeah.
When you roll out someone like what's her name,
Kamala.
Kamala, you see they made a big deal over her how you pronounce her name.
Kamala.
Are they making the big deal about that name now? They're not making the big deal about that name because they wanted to stir up emotions in the black community. But emotions that really didn't have anything to do with black because she is not black.
No.
And now she's back to being Indian. Now she's back to being Indian. Now she was not running that black card anymore. But that woman is very, very slow, mentally slow. And I would even say, I don't want to say she's mentally slowed or underdeveloped. They used to call it retarded. But I think she's her brain did not grow, and she sounds like a little girl, a little kid who was traumatized from her youth. I mean, I've been working in mental health for many years. I worked in mental health for close to 20 years after retiring from the NFL. And when I see her speak and see her giggle and all the stuff that she's doing, that's a person who had trauma in early childhood development. I mean, talking about serious trauma. And they're stuck in that. Our governor here in Arizona, when I listened to her speak, Katie Hobbs,
Yeah.
I just that child's trying to be an innocent sounding child, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not diagnosed and I'm not a doctor or a psychologist or nothing, but I've worked around this field for quite a while. And when I see that, I see something familiar that I've been working with for many years.
Yeah, they're kind of whacked out. But one of the things that you also touched on, and it is so prevalent amongst many Black Americans, is thinking emotionally instead of thinking logically and rationally. It was if you just sit back and thought about, okay, they told me Trump was a Russian agent, 8 years ago. They spent $40 million. They spent 2 years on this lie. It's finally come out that the whole thing was fabricated by Hillary Clinton, that the FBI, Comey knew about it, that Brenner knew about it, the whole Obama knew about it. No one's held accountable, and the news media just pivots on to Stormy Daniels or some other stuff, but they throw the emotional card in these Black Democrats, and they don't think about the repercussions that they're being steered mentally or like I said, emotionally. There's no intellectual thought process in there. It drives me up a wall.
Oh yeah, I know. The media was caught lying about the mental acuity of Biden. They were caught. And after he did that debate with President Donald Trump, which was not a debate because Joe Biden was no longer there, he had checked out. And President Donald Trump says, "I don't even know what he just said." He doesn't know what he just said. I mean, he killed him, he murderized him, and he exposed him. So my whole thing was during that whole debate, my concern was a national emergency. Who is running the country?
That's the question.
This man is absolutely not there. How is he running the country? How is he dealing with foreign affairs? How is he keeping our borders safe? He's not, because he was not there mentally. And I knew Trump was going to handle that debate. I knew it was one. But when I saw how far Joe Biden has slipped mentally, I was really concerned. I mean, I really had anxiety.
You know,
And
it was my opinion that at that debate, the Democrats had already, before they even started, they had given up on Biden and were going to let him crash and burn so they can get him out the way. Because
so they let him expose himself.
They let him expose himself. They didn't help him like they did in previous times, and they just let him crash and burn. Their only downfall was they thought that either he set it up that you got to put her in there, or whatever. They tricked themselves to put this woman in there that really was, like you said, deficient, mentally slow.
Yeah.
They would have been better off having a mini primary. But Democrats, well, they're going around talking about Trump as a totalitarianistic person. Going back to 16, they had Hillary locked in that thing. Then in 20, they rigged it. Excuse me, and after Trump won, they rigged the 20 election because there's no way that Trump got more votes as a losing candidate than any other winning candidate had ever received.
In history. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yet Biden did 20,000 more than that. That's crazy.
Well, in Arizona, he got about 6,000 more votes. I mean, 81 to 74 million or some nonsense.
Yeah, I meant 20 million.
Yeah, so and people will go around saying, "Oh no, he won it." I said, "Come on, I've been to Trump rallies. You've been to Trump rallies. Biden had 2 or 3 people in a parking lot, and he only talked for about 2 seconds. So, but anyway, so we know that was rigged, and then I think the thought process, we'll get him in here for a little while, and then we'll get him to retire, and she could take over. They seen that she wasn't viable, but I think either Joe was delusional and didn't want to quit, or his wife didn't want to leave, or a combination of the two. Plus, of course, we got the Hunter thing, and that was another big lie that they held from us because the FBI knew a year in advance that laptop was real, and they kept it from us. Matter of fact, the Attorney General Barr.
Yeah.
I think that when they got rid of Sessions and put Barr in, Barr was put in just to control Trump and let the clock run out.
Right. And he was working behind the scenes to hurt and sabotage President Donald Trump. There were some notes that came out recently about him. I call him Yabba Dabba Doo because he got a Fred Flintstone head.
Oh, you mean with the Project Veritas, talking about him, and I read something about him and Armstrong Williams. Yeah,
and he was actually coaching the witnesses on how to hurt Trump. And so he's in a lot of trouble. But what I would like to see is, as a matter of fact, did the media ever apologize to us for covering up for Biden's mental acuity?
Of course not.
Jake Tapper came out with his book, and the media was trying to run ahead of it, but they never apologized. They never apologized to President Donald Trump or to the country for the Russia lies.
That's right.
And so what I would like to see happen, and if we can get Pam Bundy to spring into action, and I know her plate is full. I know, you see, I used to play for the 49ers, and we would overwhelm defenses because we would send so many receivers out, and we would just bombard the defense, and it would discombobulate them, and they didn't know where the ball was going to go because we'd run these crossing routes and all this kind of stuff. What the Democrats have done for the last 10 years have run a lot of interference and confusion, and every day they did something to destroy this country. And for Pam Bondi to have a low staff as she has, it's going to be hard to get to all these cases. But what I would like to see happen before the primary is that they deal with the January 6th stuff, because this is what the Democrats are going to be talking about during the primary. They have nothing else to talk about. They have not done anything to secure the border. They hurt us financially. Inflation was at its highest mark probably ever under them. They They prioritize illegals. They prioritize transgenders over parents and children. So they don't have a leg to stand on. But I hear them still trying to strike up this January 6th stuff. So what I would like to see Pam Bondi do is roll out that video and show us who the so-called pipe bomber was, expose that, and expose the video that showed that there were thousands of FBI plants there on January 6th that initiated the attacks on the Capitol. And then that's going to take away their talking points when it comes to 2026. Of course, we have these judges and we have Jerome Powell slowing down the golden age boom, because once they lower the interest rates, we're going to see a financial boom that's going to go crazy. And these people are willing to stay in there and go to jail to make sure that they slow up the process. Now, they're not going to be able to stop the economic boom that Trump is getting ready to planning, but they can slow it up beyond 2026, and that's what they want.
Yeah, they've well, you just hit on so many different things, because when you talked about January 6th, I've never seen a resolution on this Ray Epps thing, because this guy was sitting over there calling. I see a video where he's waving people in. Matter of fact, they've got video of him the day before saying, we got to get on the Capitol. We have to get in there. So he waving people in. And then the fellow that was with the horns on his head, the police, the Capitol Police were escorting him through, different rooms and stuff.
I saw that video.
It was a total setup, and of course, the fact that the January 6th committee destroyed their records. Those people should have never got away with that. They should be held accountable for Klinger or whatever that crying joker's name is, and the former Congress lady from Utah, the Rhinos. According all those people, they should be held. Where are the records? So January 6th, I agree with you, because people spend a lot of time in jail and they would still be in
jail. You're talking about Liz Cheney. Yeah,
Liz Cheney.
The little piglet.
Yeah.
Liz Cheney is in a lot of trouble because that auto pin gave her immunity, but we're finding out that Joe Biden wasn't even acting as president. So who gave the permission to give these people, and we're talking about Dr. Funky Fingers Fauci as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you talk about the auto pin, like I said, why would Fauci need to be immunized? Of course,
exactly.
This guy, they made him a hero. He was the hero of the world. He was saving America. And we found out that he was actually Dr. Frankenstein. He was the one that created the beast. And he created the beast on purpose to try to make a beast. We got to get the pastor back. Something happened to him. Hold on. Okay, as we continue. Anyway, so like I said, this guy was Dr. Frankenstein. There's so much. If anybody could be prosecuted, I want Fauci. The idea that you create a virus that's terrible, so that you can create something to cure the terrible virus. It's insanity. That's right up there with that transgenderism nonsense. Yes. And no one has been held accountable for all the lives that's been lost behind that mess yet.
It would be nice to see them take some action like right now before we get into the primary. But, it happens every election cycle that the justice system moves very slow. It moves fast for the Democrats.
Yeah.
They can impeach whenever they want. But when it comes to the Republicans, and I'm running as a Republican for U.S. Congress, and I wanted to get in there and do some things against to stop Dr. Fauci, to stop George Soros, to stop Bill Gates. And I see President Donald Trump is waking up to those things, and I'm so happy to see that. But these people are getting away with it. and it hurts Republican candidates who are running for office, because these are the talking points that the Democrats are so adept and so astute, and they're like mockingbirds. They just keep repeating it until it gets into the heads of the voters. But these people, they should never ever be trusted to wield the power over what happens in the lives of American citizens again, because they threw us to the wolves.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
yeah, it was horrible, you know. And the Fauci, when he was denigrating hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, he was telling
Mhm.
his own people to take it, you know, if something happened to him.
Yeah.
And but this is what
Well,
I hate.
how much money did Big Pharma make? How much money was enough? And then the media needs to be held accountable for much of this, because they were repeating it. They were helping to push. They were egging the public on to hurt and to attack people like you and I, who refused to take a vaccine that was not vetted, hadn't gone through a trial, and it was just poison. So that hurt our lives. It hurt our income. You had people out here willing to fight us and pull the bat out the trunk to
Yeah.
attack us if we didn't have a mask on and all this kind of stuff. Brother, I was at the airport, and this little guy, he couldn't wait to come up to this big black guy and yell in his face about putting his mask. I had my mask on halfway. I was on the phone, and he comes up and tells me, "Put your mask on properly." I'm like, "Get out of here with your little, don't ever talk to me like that."
You
You
know,
know, I
unfortunately, the pharmaceutical company is one of the biggest advertisers on the media,
Mhm.
particularly on television and stuff. And they need to
Yes, that's true.
get them out of there, because who's going to bite the hand that feeds you?
That's illegal. You know that, right? It's illegal for uh pharma. I was making my phone calls to do fundraising, and I spoke with a doctor, and he's saying, "Have you noticed that all of the commercials about the medication and all this stuff and all the side effects and all?" He said that's illegal. That's not even, they're not even supposed to be able to advertise.
Hmm. Well, they sure been doing it.
These drug companies, yeah, it's just you watching a football game and this drug come on, is talking about mental stuff, but you take it, it's got 20 things that's going to harm you and only two things it's helping with.
Right. Yeah. That's, you know, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got this and that side effect. Oh, you might get cancer, or
Yeah,
that, and the other.
you
Dang, I think I was
you
better
might
off
see,
without it.
visions of green and purple elephants. You know, you might want to harm yourself and all this stuff, but oh, it's going to stop you from talking to yourself.
So
Yeah.
I want to see Pam and Cash. You know, I
What do
read
you think? Do
Cash's
you
book.
think Pam? You think she's the one? You think she's on the level?
I'm trying to wait it out. I'm trying to give it time.
Yeah. Okay. So how long are we going to wait? So just think about this.
I think we need
Here
to
we
get something needs. I think we should have some kind of indictments before the end of the year.
Okay. So look, you know how Congress is, and you know how the DOJ and all of them are. They. So we have we have October coming up.
Yeah.
Soon is going to be Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Soon is going to be Christmas. Then
No,
you
I
got the
think.
New Year,
Yeah.
right?
No, I
So
got you.
so
No, I think it's unfortunately. Oh, okay. Let me put it this way: if the Republicans haven't learned anything, they should have learned that the Democrats were playing for keeps. They didn't care who they hurt. They
great
didn't
point.
care what they had to do.
Great point.
They didn't care who, if they had to put them in jail illegally. They were going to. They gave the FBI instructions to shoot to kill when they raided Trump's house if necessary.
Samuel, that is an excellent point. You know, once the snake rear its head, it can't be unseen. And this move with the COVID and the lockdowns and the attacks to try to get Trump thrown off the ballots, the attack to arrest him and to seize his properties, you can't undo that. And then the attempt on his life.
Yeah.
You know what, brother? You said it. You said it best. That was a great point. They were playing for keeps. You can't. They're going for the throat, and now they're saying Trump is retaliating. It's unfair. It's not right. He's not supposed to do this. This is, you know. But wait a minute. You guys ordered some killings on this man. You tried to get him kicked off the ballot. You were in his wife's underwear drawer. You was in
Yeah,
his private space. You're like, and then you put the mug shot out there.
yeah.
And
And
so
God turned that mug shot, made it a campaign poster. They tried
right,
to
right.
kill him, make the most iconic picture, political picture ever.
Listen, let me tell you something President Donald Trump doesn't get credit for. President Donald Trump is a master communicator. He's a and does he use eloquent words? He uses college graduate? No, no. He speaks on the level of the people, but he has a way of doing it with charisma, sometimes with humor, sometimes with passion. He is a master communicator who knows how to get his message across. And when I realized that, when he started doing the McDonald things and the garbage truck, and I said, wow, this man is so amazing.
Yes.
And so now the governor of California realized that talking bad about him, he's trying to be him. Now he's trying to do the hand gestures. Now he's trying to do the tweets. He's trying to become Trump because Trump is a master communicator and he's getting the job done.
But Newsom is effeminate in my mind. He doesn't show
He's
masculine qualities at
yeah,
all.
no. He doesn't. He folds his legs better than Obama. Like let me tell you something. If you have some what they call NUTs in there and you crossing your legs that tight, you should be crushing them. You understand me?
No, I got you.
And when I see Obama and
Newsom.
Newsom cross their legs like that, oh, I said that's got to be painful. You know,
Yeah, if there
because
was something, if there was
men, we
something
sit with our
there.
legs open. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's
yeah.
it's got to be something there.
It's hilarious, but your point is well taken. I was thinking about, okay, I saw Kamala's husband and I forgot who was with him at a coffee shop. And so they called themselves trying to act like normal people, buying some coffee, but then they had the aide come up there and pay for the coffee. Here Trump is, everybody knows the man's a billionaire. But he's
Yeah.
over there shifting fries and stuff, and
Hmm.
it's looks so honest. It didn't look like it was faked or like he was just pretending. It was just there. So it was. I mean, the man is something special. I saw a video that he did, and I don't know if it was for his first campaign or what, but it was with him at one of his hotels, and he was doing all the jobs. He said, "I want to do." He went in there and he worked as a butler. He did a dog walker. He went up there to the lady's house, her room, to get a dog and took the dog out in the snow and walked the dog. And then he brought food in like he was, the service person. He said, "I'm hoping I get a good tip." But this is the kind of person that money didn't make his personality. I know that he had to work hard. His daddy made him learn stuff, just like he made his kids learn stuff and put them on the projects in the summertime. But the media, let me put it this way: prior to him ever running for president, everybody loved Trump. I didn't know anybody that disliked him, and all the folks that I know that talk crazy about him never talk crazy about him. I never watched The Apprentice because I never watched reality TV. But I understand that he had a show for like 11 years. It was Top on NBC. And nobody ever told me anything bad about Trump other than the fact that he might have been a playboy that was running around chasing women. But all the black liberals and all the black people loved him. And everybody, he was not on anybody's bad list until he came down that escalator as a Republican. And then he became the devil incarnate.
Yeah, that's what people don't tell them. Jesse Jackson was one of the first black men to ever run for president in America. The Democrats, no Democrats would fund him. No one would help him. They mark themselves as the people who want the first black this and the first that. And well, they didn't want the first black president in Jesse Jackson. They wouldn't fund him. Guess who funded him?
Trump.
President Donald Trump funded it.
That's right.
And
Trump
and when
funded
he did this Rainbow Coalition, which was assisting blacks with housing in the inner cities, President Donald Trump let him set that up in his hotel in Chicago for free for years. He didn't charge him a dime. Jesse Jackson did, it's on video of Jesse Jackson saying he didn't even charge me anything. And then Donald Trump came up and jokingly was saying, yeah, he kept coming to me for checks. And he said, yeah, he wrote me a check for millions of dollars. So what racist does this?
Yeah,
What
Trump,
racist dates a black woman? What ra-
Trump, you're right about that. And Trump put Jennifer Hudson up when she had her hard times in his hotel.
Yeah.
And he gave money to Al Sharpton. All the jokers that hate him now, he put money in their pocket.
And you know what? President Donald Trump never stood up for himself when it came to those things. And sometimes I wish he was. It's just tell him what you did. Tell him how you gave money for housing and for blacks but he wouldn't do that, because I think he understands that what Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and all these Snoop Dogg and all these people that attack him, they're doing it because this antichrist or this deep state spirit has them by the privates. He knows the predicament that they're in, and he knows that if they were to come out in support of him, they would lose their livelihood and possibly their lives. So President Donald Trump doesn't even push it. He said, look, I gave you money. I did this for you. And you know I was, but he wouldn't. That man is really something special.
I heard when he came down the escalator, he told Melania, now we're going to find out who our real friends are.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But just think about it, how the Democrats went after everyone in his stratosphere, everyone that was surrounding him. General Michael Flynn, they went after his attorney, raided his office, turned him against Trump. It's time now. So what we're seeing, they can call it retribution, they can call it revenge, call it whatever you want to call it. But when it's false, it doesn't hold up in court. When it's real and we're going after justice, and when these people broke the law, it's going to hold up in court, because we're going to give you the receipts. We're going to show you with hardcore evidence that these people broke the law and performed a coup that limited the president from performing his duty to the American people. And many times this jeopardized the national security of the American people, especially when it came to Putin and Russia and China. They interfered with that relationship, and it was a very dangerous time. And as a matter of fact, you see this James Comey, who also is stuck in a mental warp. He's underdeveloped mentally, like a 7-foot child. I don't know if you saw the video of him talking about Britney Spears or whatever.
No, I heard about him talking about not
you have to see the video.
It was that chick that's engaged to Kelsey.
I
heard about it.
Watching that man talk, and he sounded like a little child. And I said to myself, this was the man who was in charge of the greatest intelligence apparatus in the entire world. This was the man. And he's talking like a little child. And so, he broke a lot of laws.
You just made an interesting point, because you talk about Comey, you talk about Kamala, the Joker that waltzed and ran with Kamala. He's virtually brain dead. You got Shifty Schiff, you got Maxine, Mad Max, you got Pelosi. The whole conglomeration of these people are warped. And I know I'm biased because I'm not a Democrat, but if you think about just AOC and the Green New Deal and all this nonsense, I just saw a thing today where Ilya Omar, whatever the hell her name is, she's pushing. She's pushing for the ban of AR-15. This woman, she's so fake. She's out there hanging around with LGBTQ. Anybody that knows anything about Islam know that she ain't against either one of them. She's just against Americans having them. And if they got rid of us then the LBGTQ, they're gonna get rid of them next,
mhm,
and
mhm.
they're gonna use
It's
their own AR-15s to do it. So all these people are warped.
one of the things I would like to do in Congress is to ban anyone who's born outside of the country from being a lawmaker in this country, and I'm talking about even within the states.
Mm.
So if you were born, and there's a lot of wonderful people, you have a lot of wonderful, great people who are smart and they come here with great intentions. But we're seeing that it's a mistake for us as Americans to allow non-Americans to come into this country and write laws that many times are detrimental against the American people. I think you have a lot of people like the AOCs, especially on the left, who are willing to write laws that are benefiting foreigners and that will actually harm the American citizens. And that's what we've been watching for the last 4 years. The American citizen, the people who were born here, the people who have rights to this country, have been placed on the back burner and even harmed. If you say something against an illegal, don't call it a man illegal. So it's just been really nuts. And it's a
Not only
refreshing
that,
thing to see President Donald Trump.
that's a good point, because I've read where some of these cities are even allowing illegals to be policemen.
Police officers, that happened in Maine.
Like, a non-citizen can arrest a citizen? It's
Wow.
amazing.
Right. Brother, that brings me to this. When Biden had the 87,000
Oh,
IRS
IRS.
workers who were armed,
Right.
guess how many of those people were illegals?
Oh, no, really?
Yes, many of them were illegals, and they were deputized by the federal government to shoot if they felt threatened by the people that they were going to question. If Come on now, that's giving them so much legal right to kill, right? I come to the door. I'm a big black man, I'm over 6 foot and I weigh over 150 pounds. And they come to the door and I'm towering over them and I'm a big man. They say, I felt threatened, so I shot him.
Wow.
That's legal.
And I didn't know that those were, they were allowing illegals to take those positions.
Yes, absolutely.
This thing is so out of control. There used to be a time, regardless, I would hope there used to be a time that regardless of political party, there were things as patriots. If a person was going to stand up for the country first, and it just doesn't seem like the Democrat Party, in my opinion, is there. I know that we got rhinos we got to deal with in the Republican Party, but it seems like the Democrat Party is the Democrat Party first, America second, if at all.
Brother, you're saying you're far off the mark on this one, because really the Democrat Party isn't a Democrat Party anymore. It's a socialist party. It's socialism. They've been doing that ever since they stole the election, and they've been pushing hard for socialism. And that's what, when you see this dude Mondami, whatever his name is, in New York,
New York City,
the people are ready for socialism. The Democrat Party has been overtaken by a socialist majority, and they are pushing this thing. And if you don't say it the way they want you to say it, well, you're not going to be funded, be supported. And these our children and our grandchildren have been going to these indoctrination schools and colleges that we call colleges and institutions of education. They have been indoctrinated with Marxist and socialism, and they're the ones that's putting Mondami in position to run. They're the ones that's putting this ghetto mama down in Texas in position. What's her name? Crockett. They're the ones pushing for that kind of stuff. Not people like you and me. People who are mature know the difference. Listen, brother, my father was a truck driver. The government ain't never gave him a free truck. Government ain't never told him he didn't have to pay his taxes. But you bring these illegals over here, you're giving them a free house, a free business truck, and thousands of dollars on a food stamp card and all that kind of stuff. No. You come into this country, you're gonna have to work like everybody else or stay in your own country.
Yeah, socialism has never worked anywhere. And it's amazing, but you're right. The so-called educational systems have failed us. And I don't blame necessarily them on that. I blame us for abandoning it or abandoning our children to it, because we got to a point where we send our children to these schools and just trust them to get educated instead of indoctrinated. Now we got schools that they can take your daughter out and get an abortion and never tell you a thing, or start transitioning them and putting them with these cross-sexual hormones and all kinds of nonsense. And I mean, we're fighting against drag queen story hour for little kids, something that should never even wouldn't have been thought about 20 years ago. So
well, that's what happens when a Christian nation abandons the God who brought us. I was having a dispute with a Muslim guy on one of my social media platforms that says, listen, you came to our country because your God didn't bless you where you were. The God that blessed our country is the Lord Jesus Christ. He's the Savior that we worship here in this country. And because of him, we are very blessed. And you're coming over here to enjoy the blessings of a man or a God that you refuse to acknowledge. Why don't you go back to your country and call on your God and see if he'll bless you with what we have here?
What did he say?
Oh, he didn't have no answer for that. He didn't have any answer for that, because did I not tell the truth?
Oh, that was good. That was very good.
Yeah. But if you want to worship the God Allah and Elohim and all them different gods, well, then go worship them. But America is blessed because we acknowledge the Lord Jesus Christ, which came from a Judeo-Christian perspective, that the Jewish Old Testament God sent his son in the likeness of sinful flesh and came into the world, and he became the savior and our sacrifice. And that's what our founders based our laws in this country upon. And so, but you're going to come into this country and try to change that. There's a guy that's running, he ran in the last time I ran for US Congress in CD4. He's a Muslim, he's a doctor. And I told the people, I said, let me ask y'all a question. If y'all vote for this guy and he becomes the next US congressional candidate, he's a Muslim, can he place his hand on the Bible and swear to uphold the Judeo-Christian principles that we founded this country upon? Can he swear to uphold the constitutional values and the values of this country? Or will he be forced to put his hand up on a Quran and uphold the values and the blessings of Quran? Now, what y'all want? Now, see, Brother Samuel, this is how we have ended up in the position that we've been in for the last 10 years, subservient, and got white folks out here kissing black people's shoes and all kinds of stuff, and having people in Congress like Ilhan Omar and all these different people, because we've abandoned our discernment and our position, because we wanted to let love, and which was a false love. We wanted to just love everybody and all that kind of stuff. And these people came in and they began to take over. And they're parading their God, their Bible, their sexuality, their crime, all of that, and they're putting it above us. Now it's time for us to wake up and say, hey, listen, although we have freedom of religion, which is the First Amendment, we also have the freedom to decide who we place in Congress as our representatives. So you're free to worship your God. But if I see that you're worshiping a God that's outside of the preview of what this country is based on, I don't think you're the person that we need to have in our country writing laws that are supposed to uphold our Constitution. And it's nothing, we don't hate you, we love you, and we give you the right to have your freedom to worship who you want, but we don't believe that you should be the person to write laws in this country, because this guy was even talking about, we're not going to, we'll vet them at the border. So I said, basically what you're doing is saying, hey, you come to the border and we'll check you out there. No, don't come to our border. Go through immigration, because we have an immigration system in this country. Go through there so we can vet you there. We're not going to vet you at no border. You come to the border, we're going to send you right back to where you came from.
Yeah, I think it was John Adams who said this Constitution is only adequate for religious and moral or something that with people. And and it's not fit. And actually they were talking from a Judeo-Christian perspective, not just a holistic anybody. So when we abandon those biblical principles you're talking about, we're abandoning the blessing and we're abandoning our protection. And we need to go back to that. We need to we need to stand firm on those Christian values, and this lukewarm Christianity that's ecumenical and want to get along with everybody is no good. We need to stand up for strong faith in Jesus Christ and not be intimidated or try to just get along with people, because we're not going to get along with everybody.
Listen, the more you give them room, the more they're going to take, and then after they take it, they're going to start demanding it, which is what we've seen. They demand it. Don't you call me a man? You 6'6" and your shoulders is wider than the door frame, and you telling me not to call you a man just because you got on a wig? Come on, man. And they demanded this type of attention. But did you notice this, Brother Samuel, that when President Donald Trump became president, they started taking their pronouns off of their social media? Did you see this stuff? Like, if you really believe that this was who you were, why would you remove it now?
Yeah. Oh, it's nonsense. The mentality, and that's why it blows my mind when I'm talking to these people that say they're Christians. And I said, and then they'll say, well, I'm a Democrat, but I don't believe, I'm not for abortion. I said, you give these people the right to keep killing babies. You give them the power to denigrate your biblical values with your vote. You need to stand up for what is right. You can't be on the fence. God wants you, he doesn't want the lukewarm. Be hot or cold. But you're going to claim you represent Christ, but in reality, you're representing Satan, because you're doing everything that he wants. He doesn't care about you going to church. He don't care about you claiming to be a Christian. He just don't want you to be obedient to God.
That's right. That's true. Listen. It blows my mind when they say that they don't believe in abortion and they don't believe in same sex and all that kind of stuff. Well, why are you voting for the candidate who says that they're going to write these things into law? What sense does that make?
None.
On this side, you have a candidate in President Donald Trump, or most Republican candidates, who believe in traditional marriage values, a man and a woman. And a man and a woman is what God put his blessings on when he made the first institution of marriage, and he blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Now, when you put two men together and two women together, that is not the blessing, that is the curse. Because now you can't be fruitful, you can't multiply, and God can't put his blessing on that. So the opposite of a blessing is the curse. Yeah. And this is why we're seeing the school shooting, Sam. This is why we're seeing the separation of the family. This is why we're seeing Black women get cancer and the breakup of the Black family, because we've abandoned the institution with the blessing. And when they started bundling our skin color with a mental illness and sexual preference, perverted sexual preference, the Black community should have said, hold it, wait right there. Don't you ever compare my race, the skin that I was born in, to a mental sickness and to a curse. But they let them bundle them together because they paid off our Black preachers and they paid off our Black politicians to help bring in Obama, help them string this thing together, so that now we can bring it through the Black church. The Black preachers with their charismatic style and gospel stuff can help bring the spirit of the Antichrist and homosexuality in. And this is going to help with the transgender LGBT movement. And there was no minister, no church that helped usher in the spirit of the Antichrist and LGBT more than the Black church.
Well, I always said that if the Black church would have stood up for biblical principles, the Democrat Party couldn't have got away with the crap they've gotten away with. And you got too many folks that, for pride or delusion,
money.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about those folks sitting in the pews. Yeah, them folks in the pulpits are getting paid.
Listen, they're gonna go with what their pastor say, because the pastor can get up and preach that thing and make it just lovely. I don't know if you know a pastor out of Atlanta right now named E. Dewey Smith. Very popular out there in Atlanta. E. Dewey Smith. He's now pushing. Yeah, there's some videos of him going around. He's been pushing for LGBT for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, brother, listen, just come on out of the closet. Okay? Because now either you're going to stand up for God's principles or you're going to say, well, there's nothing we could do to stop them. They're going to be getting married. Yeah, that don't mean you have to marry them. And that doesn't mean that you have to give them a position in the church. I found out that there was 2 women lesbians in my church. I took them off of every ministry platform we had in the church that they was working in. And I told them, you can't do that in here. Now you can come visit as much as you want. You can't even be a member here. Because to be a member of the house of the Lord Jesus Christ, you got to believe on the Lord Jesus and turn from your sins and, you know, become a part of the family of God. So there's no way I can make you a member of the church.
Well,
Now you can visit as much as you want. But as far as working in this church, I can't do that.
E. Dewey Smith and Jamal Bryant might find himself on the same bonfire. So they don't get it together. Well, look here. We're getting ready to close up this hour, my brother. So I want to give you a minute or two if you want just to close it out. Say anything you want to say real quick.
Well, you know, I just want to say, hey, my name is Jerone Davison. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe I'm an original constitutionalist. I believe in reading the Constitution as it states. And now we're starting to see that the Supreme Court is starting to side with the 14th Amendment as it was originally stated. It wasn't for illegals to come into this country and have babies and fly over here as a foreigner and have a baby, and that baby becomes an American citizen. That's twisted. That was for slaves, as President Donald Trump stated. I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a Christian, and I mean best for what's best for the country. And once I get to Congress, I do want to protect us from slicksters and evil people like George Soros, Bill Gates, who wants to poison our food, who wants to poison us with and inoculate us with a poison, and protect and uphold the Judeo-Christian principles of this country. If you want to support a candidate like me, and I hear patriots all over the country, all on social media, on Facebook and YouTube, talking about we need more good candidates, well, I'm here. All right. But sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you got to put your money where your patriotism is. If you want to support a candidate like me, let me tell you something. People around here love me. The people who know me love me, and they appreciate me, and I love them. But without money, nobody else is going to know me but the people who just know me. I can't text the people. I can't email the people. I can't do an ad that goes viral unless I have the money from the people who are donating to get that done. We're running against a Democrat in this district CD4, who's Greg Stanton. The only time he got on the floor in Congress was to attack Carrie Lake and to support transgenders. So Greg Stanton. So support me as I run against him. It's in a split district and we can win it. My website is jerone.vote. And I want to thank you, Brother Samuel, for bringing me on and getting me here, man. And we gotta do this again.
Well, hang on there. And we thank you for coming on past.